Addison, you and your age group, plus or minus, it's like core renter demographic, and people need to be thinking about putting a business plan together. Who you are renting to, what do they want? What are they looking for, and not just it needs to be kind of a clean place and we'll slap a countertop on. We're done with it. Okay, last piece. We're talking about home ownership. We're going to finally get into the piece. Freddie Mac, do rising interest rates price out mortgage-ready borrowers? Spoiler alert, yes, absolutely. But it's more of how many people have been priced out. Because, again, earlier in the year, we had rates that were around 3% in early 22. Now we are over 7% as of early November. Rates not seen this high since the 1980s, as they have doubled. So by the numbers, what does this look like? I'm just going to scroll down here right now. There's a couple of graphs and some tables. Okay, millions of people in these different color lines that I can't tell which color is which, because I'm colorblind, are your mortgage. And how many more borrowers are there going to be or less based on what the interest rate on that mortgage is? As you can see, all price bands, income bands, have decreased quite a bit. At the top, the $200,000 mortgage, most folks could afford that back when 3%, back when interest rates were 3%, about 40 million people, just under 40 million people. That's a lot of Americans could qualify for a $200,000 mortgage. Now, today, today when, say, rates are close to 7%, that number is under 35 million. And if they get up to 8%, it's going to be close to 30 million. That's a pretty big move. And in general, across the spectrum, in the, what is this? What color is this? Is the 600K?
Yeah.
This what color is this? What color is that?
Yellow.
Yeah, that's yellow.
Uh-huh.
What's this? What's this one?
Light green.
Okay. The yellow, the burnt yellow on the bottom. That's the 600,000. That's the price use mortgage. It was about 12.5 million folks in the United States could afford a mortgage. Now we are closer to 2.5. So it's essentially been that's been cut quite a bit. This table down here, this kind of really shows it more in aggregate, though. At 4%, there were 22 million home buyers out there. That's a lot of home buyers. At 5%, goes down to 18 million. At 7 million, we're at 12 million home buyers. So we've basically taken out 10 million home buyers from the pool. It's essentially cut in half. And so in terms of multifamily and rentals, these are all folks that, or not all, but a large chunk of these individuals we were expecting to buy a home at some point, because they're at the age, they're forming a family, they're getting married, they're having kids, they want to move out to the suburbs. Time to buy a house, because it's this American culture and following the American dream. What other demographics, what other generations have done in the past, less and less each time. It's been stretched out longer. The great financial crisis, pushed out millennials getting married, moving out on their own, having kids, and COVID only, further pushed that out. This is only pushing out even further. We haven't built enough housing supply in general. And we thought we were going to get some relief in the lease apartment world of people going out and moving to single family homes. That's not going to be necessarily the case for the foreseeable future. That means there's even more apartment units that we're going to need over the next 5 years than we had originally anticipated. So to me, that's makes the housing crisis even worse. It's going to lead to higher occupancy, higher rent growth over time, especially in these income bands that almost could afford to buy a home. And so these are the folks that probably are going to be in your B+, A class communities, which Matt Bossong and I were looking last week. So many of these people were in the renters by choice category. They are all now in the renters by necessity category.
Yeah. And
so it's interesting, like the rent growth in the renters by necessity category has increased recently.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily because like the same store, the same apartments, and same renters who were renters by necessity have grown rents and incomes. It's just that there's a much larger pool of people being considered renters by necessity, and their rent is higher and their incomes are higher.